is Ray. We're at part 3 of the interview and the music and things that I do pertaining to such. And so, yeah. I'm freestyle again as far as, the style, And so we be around, and so yeah, I like to do music, I like to do dancing, I'll be dancing and all that, being at these, the laces of the shoes is kind of loose today, so I don't know if I'll be doing too much, Yeah. But I'll be clapping with everybody else. The clapping is slumping sensation. And so anyway, I'm just saying anything really. And so again, my name is Ray. and so we be out here sticking around. And so and so we do got, drumsticks and things like that. So we'll be doing all type of little stuff and big stuff and all type of big stuff and all type of musical things. I like to talk about how we be sticking around. How we be sticking around. How we be making that sound. How it's Ray sound. I am Ray sound. I'm Ray, R-A-Y. And so, yeah. And so I said, I started dancing at, whenever I was dancing before when I first had that one dance class at 5, 6, I started at 5, left at 6. That was, lots of things that I said in part 2 of the interview, and so if you want to watch that, that's online. I'm likable person to be online, he is that my personality, and so anyway, what else? I would say, again, I did that class at 5 to 6. And so in that class I was only 5, so I was just jumping around, picking up little stuff here and there what they was doing, but for the most part I was doing my own thing. And at the end of the class, during the class, the instructor would bring their own music that they actually made from their wherever they was coming from, and get into the studio, their studio, and we'll dance to whatever they had created at they, own studio, music studio, whatever they was doing, bringing their music to the spot. And so at the end of that class, we'll get the instruments and we'll go one by one freestyling. And so everybody with the instruments picked up the instruments of the class, and so everybody one by one would, put the instruments down. Everybody kept going on with the sound and did a freestyle. And then we set the instruments down, put back on their instrumental that they made and brought to the class, and we all freestyled together while they was on the microphone and things of this sort. They weren't really rapping and singing, but they were speaking, and it was cool. You could hear the tone, and I don't really remember what they were saying. I guess calling up people. Well, your turn. Whatever. And so, yeah, and so that dance and music and all that was called African dance. But, obviously the culture of the music was also in that genre area too, because that's where the actual instructor originated from. And so I originated from down in Vallejo, California. And so they got to Vallejo and they was teaching Vallejo folks, and they folks that would come, which we all folks that would come to the class and things of such. And so, I did that class for a year. Before that, I was modeling. After that, I was modeling. And so I've always been a model. And so, And so also, I moved out of Vallejo to Reno, and so I started at 9. Started dancing at 9, and so again at dance class, it was there for like a month. I said I said it was on the other interview. I said I was 8 and I did it for 3 months, but I had to remember I was so young, and I'm still trying to freestyle what I'm saying and get it all right. But I'm trying to introduce you to the artist that does lots of music and interviews in the first place. So this is Ray, and and so I did move out of Vallejo with Vallejo folks. We moved out there to Reno for 3 years. I left Reno, but during Reno time, we would visit Vallejo, and Vallejo visit, Reno, Nevada. And so I did join another class after I left at 6, joined at 5 in Vallejo. I left at 6, and then I literally left Vallejo to focus on sports. I was in soccer, and things like that. But before, I left Vallejo, I went to Vacaville for a year and played baseball and did running track and things of the sort. And so during those times, I always liked the basketball. I picked up basketball. That was, one of the favorites. But I started playing baseball when I left Vallejo to Vacaville with Vallejo folks, And so, and so after Vacaville, I moved back to Vallejo. Then I moved to Reno, Nevada. And so then I started playing soccer real heavily, and stuff like that, tetherball at school, and still doing music though, and between the midst of it all in basketball. And so, I joined the class, dancing at 9 years old, did that for, a month. And so that was, called hip hop dance, really cool. And so I left, went back to Vallejo. Then we moved to Sacramento, California, the capital of Sacramento. And so then I moved back to Vallejo. I was there for, I moved out of Reno at 12 years old. 11, 12 years old. And so I'm about to be 12 and things like that. And so I moved to I moved to Vallejo for like a couple months, and I moved to Sacramento, and then I moved back to Vallejo. I was in Sac for a long time, but during them times I would go back to Vallejo. And so, I moved back to Vallejo when I was, teenager years and like, 14 and things, and went back to Sac, when I was 15, and went back, back and forth to Sac and Vallejo, like I said. And so getting more detail within my life and things, which I've always wanted to do in the first place. I always wanted to share my story and, behind the music and during the music, And so, I went back to Sac when I was 15, 16, stayed there 18, got my own spot in Sac, but I always would go back to Vallejo. Vallejo always visit Sac and moved back and forth to Sac too, for whatever reason I did enjoy, always going back, moving back to Vallejo, always moving back to Sac. I would visit Reno all the time. Very nice friends there, family, everybody friends and family. But I'm happy to have had, opportunity to see a lot, as far as music and sports and things like that. I would swim a lot in Reno, a lot. It gets real hot up there in the mountains and the climates and things. So we would swim a lot, rivers and all this. I put all that type of things and genre in the type of the songs. And so before that, we was swimming in Vallejo and Sac, everywhere. And so when I got 18, I joined the CCC, the California Conservation Corps. But thing about it is I met all type of people, from everywhere. And so I got to hear all type of different genres of folks, and just folks that we actually, knew collectively, the greats that we hear, on TV and all that and whatever have you. I would, always look at their interviews and things since I was a little child. That's what I enjoyed to do when I wasn't, in the studio doing music. I said I had my first computer in one of my rooms, as far as in the house and stuff in the room. It was at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. It was at 8 years old. I said, I said I'd be funny, right? I said I'd be funny too, without even trying. And so anyway, alright, okay, so anyway, so I was 8 years old with the first computer in my room, right? And so, but the first actual studio was at 11 years old. It said I would do all the greats, all the hit songs that was out and all that from back then, from that present time to me even writing my own music at that time at 11. And so, I said, I went to school in Vallejo and Sacramento, but for the most part, all my kid years I went to, school in Vallejo. Then I went to school in Reno, and then so all my, middle school and adult life, going back and forth to Vallejo and Sac. I went to school in high school in Sacramento. So anyway, so the thing about it is people that know that area, it is what it is. I had a cool time with everybody picking up, dances. Now, when I said I picked up the gliding and all that from Sacramento when I was at school, that's true and all that, but I do not remember their actual moves. So my gliding, sliding, twisting turns, I put the twisting turns in there, myself and whatever else I'll be turfing and all that, and just, crumping and whatever else it is, and doing whatever it is what I do, and so, and just, whatever, so, I don't remember the dances from the classes. I don't remember really, anybody else's vocals that I've ever, probably practiced when I was little. When I didn't even know I was practicing, I was just, rapping and singing really over there stuff and things of the sort, and I'll play it back. It sounded really good together, my voice with theirs. And so I was collaborating with my co-friends around and family members, performing ever since I was young. Bottom line is, what I'm saying? And so I'm appreciative of everybody and what we was doing and what we do out here. And so I put that in the music and the songs. And so again, I picked up dances even Vallejo when I was young, but I just don't remember the dances. A few little dances from the African dances that I remember. We was going like this and stuff, and then we'd do some stuff like this. But we'll never spin and stuff, from what I remember. I just put my things on with things that I learned. So if I'm gliding and all that, it's really me freestyling and whatever have you. But I think we was going like this or whatever. I really don't really remember the dance classes. And then when I got to the hip hop class at 9, and stopped in another month when I was 9. I don't remember not one dance move from that, so. And so then when I got to middle school and things and such, they was drill teaming and stuff, and after school. And I would just go there because my friends was there, and I kind of, mess around with them dancing and stuff, but for the most part I was there because my friends was in there. And so I also would go to their basketball, games and practice, because I was so into the music, I really couldn't be in an actual basketball team, but I was good. I couldn't do the actual dances after school because I was, into the studio. But when I got a chance to, stay after school or link up or whatever, which wasn't too much, but I was really, good friends with everybody, like we are, So I said, yeah, we friends, and things of such. And so, also, even band classes and all that, after school, whatever they had, and during school, I would, go say what's up, and, they'll hand me their, drum set, and I'm drumming and all that. But when it was time to perform, that was their class. I just was, crashing the class and hey, what's up, and do a little music and do vocals while they're doing. There's other folks that would just do that too, and we'll be just, rapping, singing while they doing their thing and stuff. And sometimes we'll grab their instruments, So, again, I said I'm all about the instruments for the most part, and so. but I was always, around when the band would go, play for, football and whatever else. I was right there with them, and I would even, say what's up to the cheerleaders. And so lots of folks, was cool. I would just, look at, what they was doing, and their moves was cool too, So when they was cheerleading and all that, and the band was right next to the cheerleader, so I was like, off to the side or just going back and forth saying what's up to everybody, and I couldn't really pay attention to the game because I was actually with the band. And so I walked in with the band, and had somebody else drum and all that. So it was fun, school was fun and it was all cool. And so I appreciate it, I appreciate the stories, usually I just go into mysterious stories that has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with the characters that I bring to life and, things of the such. But to say, some actual stories that I have in my memory of the stories of back then, of the inspirational folks that be around and influencing things and folks, and so I do shout out to folks in places and things, and happy to do so. And so we here, and so that's part 3 of the interview. Part 1 and 2, I was on the microphone. It's fairly AM-ish, so I wouldn't be too loud, so I really appreciate it, and I don't know what I'm about to do now because I did just, freestyle the entire story. Although those are my memories, about, whatever have you. And so I'll try to do, a little singing and rapping and dancing right now before that I do, exit the live. And so exiting all type of words, that be the word that I'll be wording, the verbiage, the verbiage, verbs in the nows. The right now is to sing and to smile. That's what I do. I'll be smiling. I'll be doing all type of sayings. So, and I know that we the no ones that always like to do their music flow, floaty flow. The music notes that be floating. The music notes that be going in and out of the genre of the styles. This is Ray. That's the freestyle. Hey, artist Ray. Let me see if I can come up with some dance moves at the top of the brain, on the top of the dome. I like to say what I do. So there we go. Read it back to you with, with the talking and speaking and the speeching like I do. And so we do all this and that and all this and that. So back to the topic of the interview. I'm happy to have entered the world of music. Yeah, it's Ray, R-A-Y.